بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Alhamdulillah, we have tawfiq to continue our study of philosophy based on the book Bidayat al-Hikmah by the late Allama Tabatabai. We just started chapter 6 of the first section. Al-Fasl al-Sadis Fima yatakhassasu bihil wujud. Chapter 6 is about what would make existence specific. So if there are differences for existence, where do these differences come from? If there are specifications, where do these specifications come from? We said there are three ways in which existence gets specific. It becomes different. One is by its very reality. تخصص الوجود بذاته. Wujud is wujud and nothing else. So existence is existence and therefore it's different from other things. When we studied that wujud is asil, wujud is one, this one single reality is specific, is different from other things. Second thing was to consider wujud in its different grades or levels or ranks, maratib. So there are different levels of existence or different degrees of existence, and therefore these degrees also become specific. So wujud in this degree is different from wujud in another degree. And the third was to consider existence in relation to certain mahiyat. So this wujud, for example, comes with the mahiyya of insan, another wujud with mahiyya of faras, another with the mahiyya of baqar. So differences of mahiyat make beings which are related to those mahiyat different from each other. Because this is a very important discussion, so I repeat again from the beginning of the chapter. تخصص الوجود بوجوه ثلاثة. Wujud becomes specific in three ways. أحدها تخصص حقيقته الواحدة الأصيلة بنفس ذاتها القائمة بذاتها. The single primordial reality of existence by its very essence, which is self-sufficient and it depends on itself, is something which is specific. It has a kind of unique, aspect compared to other things. So, for example, wujud compared to Adam, to non-existence, or wujud compared to just concepts. Wujud, by its very essence, is special. It's specific. Second,
God created first.
pardon?
This is the first wujud that God created.
No. We are talking about wujud as such, even wujud of God. Okay? Wujud as such is haqiqatun wahida, and this is different from any other things. Second, تخصصها بخصوصيات مراتبها. Existence becomes specific its becoming limited, defined by its maratib, levels, degrees, ranks. غير الخارجة عن المراتب. And these are not coming from outside. They are not external to those ranks. So different degrees of existence. These degrees are not something external. We mentioned many times in the discussion about tashqiq that these maratib are maratib of the same common thing. Ma bihil imtiyaz and ma bihil ishtirak are the same. So different degrees of existence. So these degrees are different, but they are different in being existence.
Gradation, like we had in the other book.
Pardon?
Like different grades we studied in the previous book.
Yes, yes. وَثَالِثُهَا. The third way in which existence becomes specific is when it is considered in relation with mahiyat. تخصص الوجود بإضافته إلى الماهيات. بالإضافة means in relation to. These mahiyat are مختلفة. Faras, hajar, shajar, color, digits. It can be jawhar, it can be araz can be kam, kayf, mata, ain. 9 types of araz. So all these 10 types of maqulat, 10 categories, these are mahiyat, yeah? Because al-mahiyatu imma jawharun or araz. Mahiya is either substance or accident. Each of these mahiyat, when they exist, when they are real, it means that wujud has belonged to them. So wujud with belonging to different mahiyat becomes a specific. A wujud that has belonged to color and a wujud that has belonged to taste is different. A wujud that has belonged to faras, a wujud that has belonged to shajar, they are different. One way of understanding this difference is to say because it has belonged to different mahiyat. Of course, based on asalatul wujud, we know that actually mahiyat is defined by the type of existence that we have. Not that mahiyat defines the existence. Yeah? Why we have faras? Some may say, okay, because wujud has belonged to the mahiyat of faras. But according to asalatul wujud, we say we have a type of being from which we can abstract the mahiyat of faras. You understand the difference? Okay. تخصص الوجود بإضافته إلى الماهيات المختلفة الذوات. Wujud becomes specific by its relation to different mahiyat which are different in essence. Yeah? Mahiyat are essential qualities. You remember al-kulli imma zatiyun or araziyun. Zati is jins, fast and no. And you know the difference between araz and arazi. Yeah? Araz is a type of mahiyya opposite to jawhar. But even a'raz are zati, not arazi. Don't get confused. Arazi means something which is not related to the essence of the subject. Okay? Like imkan. Imkan for insan is not dhati, it's not jins or fasl or no. Imkan for insan is arad lazim. Means a concept which doesn't belong to the essence. You just abstract. But araz is different. Araz by itself is essential. Because araz is, for example, cham or kayf or whatever, it's essential. I'm talking about different magulat arazi. if you have not remembered these few things, please refresh your knowledge of this terminology. What is the difference between dhati and arazi, and between jawhar and araz? These are different things. Jawhar and araz are both mahiyat, but dhati and arazi are for concepts which are either related to essence, which can be then jawhar or araz, but with jins fasl no, or something which is external, which is then arazi, like araz am or araz khas. For example, al-insan and mashi. Walking for human being is araz. It's not part of their jins or fasl. Or muta'ajjib lil-insan. Or mumkin lil-insan. Or to be even or odd for numbers. This is not part of their jins or fasl. You should remember these things all the time. Yeah? Because these are the tools, and these tools, you need them all the time. I told you what is the example of tool. You remember? One of my teachers, the first year I went to Hausa, I studied for a few weeks or a few days with someone before I get registered into my school. So that teacher said something interesting to encourage us to remember the rules of Nahw. He said these rules are like tools. Suppose you are a repairman and you want to fix a car. Okay? Sometimes the repairman has to go beneath and under the car. Yeah? You want to change, for example, a screw. When you are there and you see the screw, you have to be able to guess exactly what size of a screw needed. Otherwise, you have to keep coming out, taking a screw and trying, and then taking back. So when you are in middle of a text, it's like an engineer or repairman who wants to fix things. You cannot keep going back to the books you have studied before. You have to remember all these rules of Nahw and Sarf and Balagha and Mantiq, And it's not difficult if you really study. Because after some years of study and practice in Mubahasa, inshallah, they will all remain in your mind. But if you don't do Mubahasa and study and you think you have ability to grasp everything in the class, this is not working. It's not going to work. Yeah? Just coming to the class is not enough. Okay? So, please do Mubahasa study. Alhamdulillah, you are doing 60% of the job by taking time, coming to the class, going, studying, taking exam. Do the remaining, inshallah. So, it's clear? So, 3 types of wujud becoming specific. Now, question. A very good question. This question might be a little bit difficult or might be a good thing for training your mind, because those who are interested in learning are after difficult things. Those who are not after learning, they just want to have everything easy. Alhamdulillah, you are interested in learning, so it's a good practice for your mind. When we have wujud and mahiyya, we have already touched upon this issue in this book and in the previous book. Several times we said, when we have wujud and mahiyya for something, the way our mind normally understands it is different from the way it is according to asalatul wujud. Our mind is very much used to dealing with concepts. Yeah, it's not wrong. But you just have to be careful. Don't tell me why the mind works like this. There are many things that the mind is working in some way, which is not false, but it's not the best real thing. It's practically okay. For example, even today, after many centuries of proving that the earth is not the center of the world. Yeah, there was a time that people thought earth is the center and everything goes around the earth. But now we know that the earth is not the center. But still, when they want to calculate moon eclipse or sun eclipse or everything, all the calculations is based on supposing that the earth is the center. And it gives you accurate, results. So, for us, sometimes it's easier to suppose something as the basis. Though, if you look at it more carefully, there can be another thing, the real basis. It's just a matter of where you can look at things. So,
why is it so? Why is it so?
So, because our mind, very good question. Our mind is using concepts to analyze the real world. So, the first thing that your mind is familiar with is what? Is the concepts. But then, the purpose of dealing with this concept is to understand the real world. So, why we want these concepts? For those realities. But how we start reaching those realities? With concepts. You understand? So, our mind is more prepared, more used to work with concepts. And Mahiyya is a concept. Okay? Therefore, we can easily think about Mahiyyatul Insan, which sometimes exists or sometimes doesn't exist. Yeah? But do we have anything other than existence? Either we have this type of existence, which is human being, or we don't have this type of existence, which is human being. Yeah? But the way our mind works is extracts humanity from existence and deals with it separately. Says, okay, I understand humanity, and humanity sometimes has existence and sometimes doesn't have existence. But in reality, what it is that we have either the being which is human being, or we don't have that being. It's not that we have humanity separately. The only place in which humanity can be separate from reality is in our mind. Is it clear? So, in our mind, we consider mahiyat as if they are independent realities. And we say, okay, we have mahiyatul insan, mahiyatul faras, mahiyatul baqar, shajar, hajar, and so on and so forth. Okay? Then we say sometimes existence belongs to this mahiyat. For example, we say al-insanu mawjudun. Yeah? Humanity exists. For example, here we have one human being. We say al-insanu mawjudun means this man is a human being, this person is a human being, humanity exists in this person, or this humanity exists. You can put it in different ways. Anyway, what is important is that you realize that mahiyya is not only in your mind, that mahiyya is now existing in the external, real, objective world. Okay? So, when you say al-insanu mawjudun, what do you understand first? Insan. Then you think whether this insan exists or not, after having enough evidence, you say al-insanu mawjudun. Humanity exists. So you started with what? With mahiyya. And then you added wujud. This is the way our mind is, used to work. It's easy for our mind to work in this way. Yes.
Is that because some of the philosophers that believe on asalatul mahiyya?
So some people based on this, they thought mahiyya is asil. But based on asalatul wujud that we learned, we say wujud is the reality. And this reality either is there or is not there.
It's not.
If it is there, then it has whatness. It has a mahiyya. Okay? So, Allama Tabatabai says, Al-insanu mawjudun indeed is aksul haml. Aksul haml. What does it mean? It means that indeed it was opposite. It was hadal mawjudu insanun. Yeah? Hadal mawjudu insanun. And now you understand why in the beginning we said, what is the subject matter of philosophy? ما هو موضوع الفلسفة? What is the subject matter of philosophy? موجود بما هو موجود, or وجود. So all the propositions in falsafa must be about wujud. Why then you say al-insanu mawjudun? We say this is in reality aksul haml. This issue is mentioned in Nihayatul Hikmah. We didn't have it here, but in Nihayatul Hikmah, inshallah, when you study Nihayatul Hikmah, in the introduction to Nihayatul Hikmah, this question is mentioned. If someone says, in philosophy, we many times see wujud is mahmul, not mawzu. While mawzu' kull ilmin must be repeated in the masail of that ilm, in the proposition of that ilm. The answer that Allama Tabatabai gives in Nihayatul Hikmah is this: that indeed these type of propositions in which wujud becomes mahmul, predicate, is aksul haml. Wujud has to be mawzu. Wujud that we have here is either wajib or mumkin, wahid or kathir, بالقوة أو بالفعل, إنسان or faras, or so on and so forth. Okay? So, our mind starts with considering mahiyat and then starts collecting evidence to be able to judge whether that mahiyya has reality or not. But if you wanted to be more in tune with asalatul wujud, we should start with wujud and say whether this wujud from which mahiyya of insan can be abstracted has existence or not, is real or not. Okay, please look at the text. Ardul wujud al-mahiyyah wa thubutuhu laha. Belonging of wujud to mahiyya. You remember the poem of Haji Sabzawari? Inna al-wujuda aridul mahiyyah tasawwuran wa tahada huwiyya. Okay? Inna al-wujuda aridul mahiyyah tasawwuran wa tahada huwiyya. Means, in the context of tasawwur, when you want to conceive and comprehend, wujud belongs to the mahiyya. Inna al-wujuda arizul mahiyya tasawwuran. But in reality, wattahada huwiyya, we have only one thing. Yeah, we don't have two things. We have one thing, and which one is the real one? Wujud. Okay? عرض الوجود للماهية وثبوت لها. This ثبوت لها is the same thing as عرض الوجود. We are indeed interpreting what we mean by عرض الوجود. Belonging of wujud for mahiyya, wujud becoming a predicate for mahiyya. ليس من قبيل العرض المقولي. It's not like when a category which is araz belongs to another category. For example, when you say something is white, whiteness is color. Okay? If when you say this dress, this clothes is white, or it's soft, or this water is sweet, taste, color, these are accidents and they belong to a jawhar. Okay? Question: when something can become white or soft or sweet? When something exists in the first place. Yeah? You have to have something first, and then an accident can belong to it. Therefore, philosophers say, ثبوت شيء لشيء فرع ثبوت المثبت له. ثبوت شيء لشيء فرع ثبوت المثبت له. This is called قاعدة الفرعية. One of the rules in philosophy is قاعدة الفرعية. What does it mean? When you want to prove something for another thing, for example, you want to prove A for B, this presupposes that B must be there. You cannot say something is white without having anything. You should have something, then you can say that is white. You should have something, then it's soft, it's sweet. ثبوت شيء لشيء. When you say this predicate, this property, this characteristic is for something, that thing should exist. Yeah? مثبت له is the thing for which we are mentioning a quality. So ثبوت شيء لشيء ثبوت شيء لشيء ثبوت A for B. فرع depends on having مثبت له, having B. The thing for which you are proving something. المثبت له. You have المثبت and المثبت له. المثبت is color, is taste, is touch. المثبت له is that thing that it has these qualities. And مثبت are us. We are مثبت. We are proving this for that. ثبوت شيء لشيء فرع ثبوت المثبت له. So if in exam I ask you, explain قاعدة الفرعية, you know what I am talking about.
What is the meaning of far'iyya?
It depends. It's subordinate to that. You cannot prove a quality for something without first assuming that thing exists. Yeah?
It's quite obvious.
It's very obvious. We have also something similar we use many times in discussions. We say, ثبت العرش ثم انقش. Have you heard this? ثبت العرش ثم انقش. Means first establish the throne, then start painting it. For example, sometimes people come and they are very clever. They put you in a position that without you noticing, They dictate to you something. Okay? For example, they may say, why you people, for example, don't do this. Then you start answering. But if you are clever, you say, Sabbatil Arsh first you prove that we do this, then I will explain. You know, sometimes they presuppose something. Or for example, you know, someone is taken to TV, for example, for interview. Say, are you still beating your wife? You say yes, it's a problem. You say no, so it means no, I am not beating now, but I used to. So you have to say Thabbit al-Arsh thumman Ghush. Yeah? First, you establish this point and then start painting it or, you know, working on it. So this is very similar. Or in Farsi also we have something, you know, it's very interesting when you know logic and philosophy and usul al-fiqh, then you find this in the life of people. We say also in Farsi that first we should identify whose head we are trimming. You cannot start trimming without knowing whose head is here. Yeah? It all means that logically, first you have to establish the subject, and then you can talk about its characteristics, its predicates. Okay? So, ثبوت شيء لشيئين فرع ثبوت المثبت له. To prove something for something, to have something for something as predicate, far'u depends on that thing for which you are proving this to exist in the first place, to have some reality in the first place. If you want to say A is B, A is B, shouldn't we first have A so that we can say A is B? If we don't have A, then how can we say A is B? If you say Zaydun qa'imun, Zayd is standing, first we should have Zayd, and then we can talk about whether Zayd is standing or not. Okay? So, now there is a question here. When we say al-insanu mawjudun, there's a problem. Because according to qa'idatul far'iyya, mawdu should have reality and then we can predicate something. So if we say al-insanu mawjudun, requires insan to be there so that then we can say it exists. So it means that it has to have two types of existence. It must exist so that we can say it exists. Do you mean existing with the same existence? Then it becomes door. If it is different, then means everything before exist should exist. And then that thing also before existing should exist. It becomes tasalsul. Did you get the question? I repeat. When we say for a mahiyya, like insan, that it exists, al-insanu mawjudun. Qa'idatul far'iyya, which is something everyone understands by logic, says that to say something has a quality means that thing should exist in the first place. So when you say insan has the quality of existence, it means that insan should be there first so that we can say it has existence. So what does it mean that mahiyya exists before we can say it exists? Do you mean mahiyya exists with the same existence that you are going to talk about it later? Then this is in conflict with the qa'idatul far'iyya, because qa'idatul far'iyya says it must exist before. Do you mean it exists with another existence? So this means that anything to exist has to have two existences. One existence to exist first, and then one existence after becoming the subject. And then we move the question into the first one. Al-insan has to be mawjood so that we can say mawjood. So that mawjood first also has to be preceded by another mawjood. This becomes tasalsul. Yes.
But even concepts have to be built on a wujud before, so you know what you're talking about. Or your mahir can be absolutely blank. If you want to speak about insan, you must have the picture of the insan, that you must have seen a man that you're making concept of it. Am I right or wrong?
Yes.
Or is it different way to look
But
at
does it need to exist? If we talk about a mahiyya, does it need to exist? For example, suppose we talk about dinosaurs.
Yes.
Do we have dinosaurs now?
No, we don't.
Okay, but still we can talk about them.
Yeah, there's a picture we've seen, and from that we built it.
So whatever you say about dinosaur needs to have dinosaur first.
Yes, so you have to wujud first, then you give it to mahir.
But dinosaurs don't exist.
Am I right or wrong?
You are right. You are right, but maybe this is different from what you are thinking about. When we say dinosaur exists or dinosaur is a huge animal, okay, still it is true that you must have something in your mind as dinosaur, you can talk about it.
Yes.
But this doesn't mean to have dinosaur in the external world.
No, you have a picture. You can have a picture of it.
Okay, so the answer, the real answer to this question is, which is not clearly mentioned in the book,
Yes.
is in order to have a mahiyya as subject, it doesn't need to exist in the world. It's enough to exist in our mind. Yeah? Thubut for mahiyya is different from thubut for existence. Thubut for mahiyya can be just in conceptualization. Anyway, the answer which is given in the book is different. Allama Tabatabai rahmatullah alayhi says, which is, of course, this is also a correct answer. He says, we have two types of qadiyya hamliya. You remember qadiyya hamliya propositions? Because we said any proposition is either hamliya or shartiyya, conditional, or it's like a statement. In qadaya al-hamliya, we have two types. Sometimes it is haliyya basita, sometimes it is haliyya murakkaba. Al-haliyyatul basita, al-haliyyatul murakkaba. You know, we are like people who are studying Greek philosophy, and they are so good that they use Greek language. So don't be surprised, why we keep using Arabic terms, because these are technical terms. So if you want to understand really Aristotle, you have to be able to deal with the concepts and the terms that Aristotle used, not that those who are doing undergraduate that deal with translations. But if you want to understand really what Aristotle meant, you have to use Greek terms. Yeah? Even, some documentary movies, you see, they don't dub it. They use original language and they put subtitles. Okay? So you understand why we are using these terms. Because we want to understand it in the way those who developed these ideas understood. We don't want to understand it in the way that the translators understood. Understand? This is Jose. In Jose, we go as much as possible nearer to the ideas were developed. Yeah? We don't take bottled water. We go to a spring. This is Jose. So Jose has to be connected to the spring. Okay. So we have al-haliyatul basita, al-haliyatul murakkaba. Al-haliyatul basita means the proposition which answers to your question about whether something exists or doesn't exist is simple حلية. حلية means هل هذا ذاك. If it is بسيطة, is هل هذا موجود. If it is compound مركب, هل هذا قائم, هل هذا جالس. So الحلية البسيطة, the answer is yes or no. الحلية المركبة is not just whether exists or not. Still you can say yes or no, but yes it is standing, or yes he is sitting, yes he is a writer. Not just yes it is there or it is not there. So al-haliyatul basita, the question is about whether something has existence or not. And the answer is yes it is there or yes it is not there. نعم هو موجود or ليس هو موجود. Al-haliyatul murakkaba is when you have a subject and a predicate which is not existence, something else. And then you want to see whether these two match. Is Zaid a good person or not? This is haliyatul murakkaba. Understand? So some of the sentences answer the question about whether something has a reality or not. Some questions answer whether something has a quality other than existence or not. This is haliyatul murakkaba. It's a compound question. It's not just about yes it exists or no it doesn't exist. It's more than that. Yes it is with this quality. It is, for example, white. It is cold. It is this or it is not this. You understand?
So with detail. With extra detail.
So sometimes A exists or doesn't exist. Sometimes A is B or A is not B. So Allama Tabatabai rahmatullah alayhi says قاعدة الفرعية ثبوت شيء لشيء فرع ثبوت المثبت له is for al-haliyatul murakkabah. But for al-haliyatul basita, we don't have qa'idatul far'iyya because it's not something having another thing. It's just about whether something exists or not. So, Allama Tabatabai, in other words, says, when you say whether mahiyya exists or not, for example, al-insanu mawjudun or al-insanu laysa mawjud. When you say al-insan mawjudun or laysa mawjud, this is not a case for applying qa'idatul far'iyya. Because qa'idatul far'iyya is for al-haliyatul murakkaba. Qa'idatul far'iyya is not about existence or non-existence. It's about having a quality or not. To discuss whether something has a quality or not, we should first establish that it exists. But when we want to talk about existence or non-existence, we don't need to establish that it exists. Maybe we want to say it doesn't exist. So how you expect me to establish that it exists so that then I can say it doesn't exist? Some people didn't take it right, didn't get it right, and they said, Qa'idatul Far'iyya here has exception. It is true everywhere except for Mahiyat. But you know, intellectual rules can have no exception. Never intellectual rules have exception. Like Qa'idatul Illiyya. Qa'idatul Illiyya can have no exception. كل معلول له علة. كل ممكن له علة. It cannot have exception. If you think something exception, you have to look at it carefully. Maybe it is not falling under this qaida. For example, you say, what about God? We say God is not an exception. God does not fall under this qaida because we say كل ممكن له علة. God is not mumkin. So don't say God is an exception to causality, the principle of causality. Everything has cause, but God doesn't have cause. No, we say there is no exception. Here also we say قاعدة الفرعية has no exception. كل شيء يقع في الهلية المركبة, everything that occurs as a subject in هلية مركبة, you can only talk about its property, characteristic, quality if it has some reality. But this does not apply to al-haliyatul basita. Yes.
Can you say, because haliyatul basita is like a one-stage process where you're determining the reality or existence. But haliyatul murakkaba allows qaidatul fariya to work because it's kind of a two-stage process. You're ascertaining a quality for something, so you have to see if it exists.
Yeah.
Haliyatul basita, it's only a one-stage answer.
Yeah.
So there's no affirming anything.
Yeah. You can say like that. But as I said, you can even say in a different way. You can say, no problem, even when I say al-insanu mawjudun, qa'idat al-far'iyya is there, but subut doesn't need to be external subut, external reality. It has to be maybe in mind. Yeah? Because even when you say al-insanu mawjudun, you have to understand insan. You cannot talk about something which doesn't exist. But exists in external world? No. At least in your mind, it should be existing. So in this way, everything can become a case for qa'idatul far'iyya. If you mean by subut, more general than external subut. Yeah? But if you mean external subut, then Allama is right. That external subut of subject is needed for al-haliyatul murakkaba, not for al-haliyatul basita. Because in al-haliyatul basita, we may even say that it doesn't exist. So how can external existence be a condition for saying that it doesn't exist? Yeah? I know you have difficulty now. I can anticipate, then I can see in your face, but it's natural. It's natural. It takes time, but it needs mubahasa. It needs to study again, see the text, see the translation, word by word. You have to work on this because it's a little bit delicate. Okay? When you understand it, you realize it was not difficult. When you don't understand, it's difficult. When you understand it, you realize, it just needs a kind of clue. So, let's go to the text. وَعَرْضُ الْوُجُودِ لِلْمَاهِيَّةِ وَثُبُوتُهُ لَهَا لَيْسَ مِنْ قَبِيلِ الْعَرْضِ الْمَقُولِ الَّذِي يَتَوَقَّفُ فِيهِ ثُبُوتُ الْعَارِضِ عَلَى ثُبُوتِ الْمَعْرُوضِ قَبْلَهِ. Belonging of existence to Mahiyya and being established for Mahiyya is not like those categorical accidents that if they exist for a Jawhar or for something, they should first have that subject and then this can belong to it. فَإِنَّ حَقِيقَةَ ثُبُوتِ الْوُجُودِ لِلْمَاهِيَّةِ, because the reality of belonging of wujud to mahiyya or mahiyya having wujud is that mahiyya exists with this wujud. When I say al-mahiyyatu, for example, al-insan mawjud, al-insanu mawjud, I want to say this insan exists with this wujud, not that it exists separately and then wujud comes later. إن حقيقة ثبوت الوجود للماهية هي ثبوت الماهية به. If you understand this sentence only, you have understood about 30% of what we have said today. إن حقيقة ثبوت الوجود للماهية هي ثبوت الماهية به. The reality of mahiyya having wujud is that Mahiyya exists with this wujud.
Just together.
That's again going back to the solid.
Yeah, the same thing that we have. I think we have clarified so much that it has become maybe a little bit unclear. It's very easy, it's not difficult. لأن ذلك هو مقتضى أصالته واعتباريته, because this is the requirement of primordiality of existence and اعتبارية الماهية, that the Mahiyya is subordinate. So Mahiyya exists with wujud. Not that Mahiyya has to exist and then wujud belongs to it. إنما العقل. But the only thing is, why you find it, a little bit strange. You think that Mahiyya is to be there before. إنما العقل لمكان أنسه بالماهيات. What is the meaning of makan? Makan.
Makan, place.
No. No. Makan. Makan is here mastar mimi. Makan means cone.
Kind means
Cone. عقل لمكان أنسه بالماهيات. عقل, because it is used to mahiyat. Uns means is acquainted with. It's used to, yeah? Uns. Yeah? In Arabic, for example, if we have animals which are domestic, yeah, then we say they are getting used to human beings. Means they are not afraid. It's not strange. So, because our aql, our intellect or our mind, is very much used to mahiyat, is very familiar with mahiyat, يفترض الماهية موضوعة, supposes mahiyya as a subject, and then يحمل الوجود عليها, then uses wujud as a predicate for mahiyya. But هو في الحقيقة من عكس الحمل. But in reality it's opposite. Now it has become easier. Okay. So we continue inshallah after the break. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.